So sometimes I wonder this, had the Tlaxcaltecas known that as a major ethnic group they would have faded away entirely, would they have still committed the actions that they did or not? I am well aware that there are a lot of Nahuas in Tlaxcala, but from what I understand, they don't precisely identify as the Tlaxcalteca Confederacy from back in the day that allied with the Spanish. They don't identify the exact same way, let's say. And minus that, a lot of the Tlaxcaltecas that were brought up to northern Mexico and other areas of the empire did not maintain that ethnic identity by and large. And the reasons for this is because of intermarriage between Tlaxcaltecas, Spaniards, and other indigenous groups as well. So this led to an erosion of identity. They had privileges under the Spanish Empire, and so those privileges also incentivized to go further into the caste system to become mestizo, to assimilate even further. So despite the fact that they had that privileged status, a lot of people continue to leave the ethnic group behind and to leave the culture behind. I do need to read more so on this third point, but I believe this because there was always an encroachment on indigenous rights and privileges and authority by succeeding generations of Spaniard officials. And this isn't anything new. I mean, the United States or the Americans did this all the time, where they would make treaties and then they would go back on their words. And of course, there's also the migrations. Like I said, they were used as a vanguard force, but also sent as a colonizing force to settle different parts of the Spanish Empire and colonial Mexico. And that led to an erosion, again, of their identity because they didn't center that as the forefront of their existence. I think things could have turned out differently had they really focused on preserving their cultural identity as an ethnic group, despite still allying with the Spanish. I feel like they could have maintained themselves. Maybe we would have had a alternative history here where they, in this hypothetical scenario, where they had prominence as an ethnic group, and you would have millions of people still identifying under this indigenous nations. Unfortunately, that did not happen. I feel like it would be better that way because you would have more preservation again of indigenous culture and custom. The biggest issue and challenge would have been with the Mexican independence. They would have lost their special rights and privileges had they been able to maintain those under the Spanish. And so they would have not had that leverage, but if they would have, again, had a bigger focus on that cultural preservation aspect, if they brought people into the ethnic group by marrying out, but they brought them in and they didn't leave it behind, because basically they were marrying out and leaving that identity behind. That if that had been in reverse, then we probably would have had a major social impact and difference in all of these areas that they went to go settle. But primarily a lot of that would be northern Mexico and also the southeastern United States, the states that now occupy that. You would have more of an indigenous presence there, or people still identifying that way rather than just mestizo. But yeah, I think it is a shame that it played out exactly the way it did. I feel like had it been slightly different like this right here, it would have made for something more interesting or unique.